Ain't no after winter comes the sun.
When you look back at that era, though, of Detroit music with Slum Village and, Dilla and that, and when you're in it, you don't really appreciate it. You're just a young man trying to network and make connections. Did it seem like Detroit music was easy to network in, meaning to make those connections that eventually led to, you collaborating with them?
At that time it did. Everything moved kind of fast, and I wasn't really judging like, it took me 2 weeks to get here. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of a thing. It just kind of happened. Everything really happened organically for me, so I can't say it was hard to get.
Well, I mean, it seemed when I was looking through your trajectory that it did happen pretty quickly. But I'm wondering what you think of now, that era, that decade, of music. What did that define for Detroit for you? If you have to describe that era of what was important in Detroit in the industry or just musically.
I might be a little biased, but I feel like that time right there, with that was like around the time that was kind of putting Detroit on. You had Dilla putting Detroit on. You had you just had a lot of artists. You had a lot of artists from Detroit actually putting Detroit on for the first time. It feels like for the first time in the soul hip hop scene since Motown.
Right.
Since in between that you had the techno, you had the house that was really making moves, but nobody was really pioneering for
I think that's right. I never really thought of it that way, but after Motown and by the time the 70s end, Motown isn't really as important or influential as it was, and music changed to the mainstreamish type of culture. Radio did, MTV did, and then I think there is this whole resurgence that happened around, when was that, late 90s?
Yeah, definitely late 90s. Yeah.
But it is a distinct sound. But when did you start to pivot from rapping to being this soul, more R&B and soul?
Yeah, that happened when they got a hold of the cassette, and management took it and they picked a few songs from the cassette to start shopping to the different labels. And the songs that they picked were majority, vocal songs, me singing, as opposed to me rapping. So they took me as a singer. And they got back at me like, oh, so you singing, la, 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 this, and the other. We like this joint, we like that joint. So I was like, all right, let me try to sing a thing, see what happens.
Well, it's worked out pretty well. Do you ever miss rapping, though?
I still rap.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have any golf raps? About You don't have to freestyle anything. You need one to get through.
My next rap album is called Mulligan.
Yeah. Extra Mulligan.
Extra Mulligan.
This Full Exposure podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.